Let me preface this review by saying I'm a huge fan of the base game of Vertigo 2. It is easily one of my favorite VR games, and one of my favorite games, period. I'm definitely going to be doing a full video review of Vertigo 2 at some point. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't at least a little let down by this DLC. First off, I'm going to avoid discussing major spoilers for Into the Aether in this review. And, to avoid spoiling the base game, I'll just sum it up to this. At the end of the game, Brian, who you play as, is greeted by a being called Cowboy. There's something he wants in this odd grey dimension called the Aether, but can't get it himself. Oh, also, there's a company called Plank that uses security robots, and that's about all you need to know. I'm mostly going to be talking about gameplay in this review anyways. So, let's begin.
Lunar defense to unidentified vessel. You are on course for a restricted area. Divert now or you will be fired upon.
Eat my ass.
This happens literally immediately as you start the DLC, but it's really fun.
Shit. I might need to rethink my approach.
To actually get to the headquarters, you'll first need to go through a back route, where a new gun is available.
Oh, they don't make these on Earth.
This is the Hornet, a new weapon. This weapon is fun, but I'm extremely disappointed to say that this is the only new weapon in the whole DLC. Like, what? There's so much missed opportunity. Even just one more weapon and I would have been content, but there only being a single one that you get at the start of the DLC is such a letdown. The moon's low gravity is fun to jump around in, and a new enemy, grasshoppers, takes full advantage of that. They do as their name suggests, and there's so many of them. Right after this is a fight with a Minotaur, a new fire-themed centaur. I enjoyed this fight, although it did drag on for a little bit too long. I'll skip through the next part since it's pretty similar to the base game. After all that, you can actually go to the Aether. Yay, the title of the DLC!
What? Is that you, Cowboy?
私のことはカウガールって呼んで。気づかれないように姿を変えたの。
No, I did not edit this. Cowboy, now Cowgirl, will take you to the structure where the DLC truly begins. Alright, this is where spoiler territory really is, so I'll do my best to explain without spoiling too much. The final boss is actually right there, and nothing is stopping you from accessing him. However, he can't be hurt until you've gotten a few certain items. Most of the gameplay will be searching for these items. Said items will be scattered around the map, which is like a maze. Although I didn't have the hardest time navigating the place, a map would have definitely been nice to have. If done properly, a static map near the entrance that reveals itself as you go along would have been great. It's a lot like a Metroidvania given how certain things need to be found before others are accessible. Part of what piqued my interest in the base game was all the experimentation and innovation done. I'm glad to see that's still happening here, as far too many VR games seem to be afraid to try new things. I have to say, everything feels super high quality. From the enemies to the environment to the interactables, it's all astonishingly well made. Although everything is certainly well made, it's not all well thought out. For example, the parry mechanic, which was used way more than it had any right to. The projectiles meant to be parried move extremely fast and are super hard to properly time, and the time window feels inconsistent at best. Do you want to guess what the only way to damage the final boss is? Luckily, the parry shield is the worst offender of all the items, and everything else was very good. I especially like the grappling hook. Even if it did feel a bit janky at times, you can never go wrong with the good old grappling hook, and it being in VR really amplified the fun. Although I thought the environment was overall very good, it did start to get quite samey. You can only have grey bricked corridors so many times until it begins to blend together, another part of why I wanted to have a map. To add on to that, seeing these large, long-dead monstrosities isn't very haunting anymore when this is the 5th one you've seen in 10 minutes. One last thing before I wrap up, I really need to commend the music. Even though there are only a few tracks, it's all really good, and free on YouTube to boot. To conclude, I'll give Into the Aether a 7 out of 10. It makes a lot of mistakes and certainly has some missed opportunities, but does enough to make up for it in my eyes. I wish there was a bit more content in the way of weapons, and perhaps some more Aether-specific enemies. But, considering it's only $10, I consider it to be worthy of your money. From me, you can expect a full review of Vertigo 2 sometime within the next 100 years.